Hi, I'm Tennessee Jack. This is my car, and it's the C7 Corvette Cabriolet.
And explain the Tennessee Jack. Where does that come from?
Right, Tennessee Jack, a two-part name, is made up of two of my favourites. Tennessee in the USA is one of my favourite states, and Jack Daniels is also one of my passions. So they go together quite well.
And where does that fits also with your profession as well?
It does, yeah. Professionally, I play and sing guitar. My genres are country music, 60s and 70s, and Elvis Presley.
All the greats.
All the greats, oh absolutely. And things everybody knows.
And obviously the car fits the image perfectly.
It does, yeah. The unfortunate thing is with this car, it's not quite big enough to take all my amplification equipment. So the gig needs to be very local for me to make 2 or 3 trips and still take the car.
So I can understand perfectly the love of the Corvette, but this isn't your first Corvette, is it?
No, this is number 3 for me. I previously had 2 C5s. The first one was a 1994, which I acquired in 2005. It was red, because Little Red Corvette is a well-known phrase. So yes, I enjoyed that. Lovely car, and I kept it until 2012 when I saw a beautiful yellow C5. And I was very taken with the yellow C5, so I traded it. It was a 2003, and it was a beautiful car. The one disadvantage of having a yellow car in the summertime is that the insects love it. So of course it used to get covered in insects whenever I went to a show. But it was a great car. And then I saw a blue C7 Cabriolet, and that was the end of the yellow car, unfortunately, because then it had to be another red C7 Cabriolet.
Wait, and I believe you started your search in the UK?
Yeah, well initially I saw one in the UK, and I thought, yeah, I'll take a look around and see if there's one for sale. I did see one, and it was rather pricey for its age, but it had done 30,000 miles, and that was a high mileage for me. So we go to the US quite regularly during the year, to Scottsdale, Arizona. So I thought, okay, yeah, I can find one here, surely. But no, there was not a red C7 convertible automatic for sale in Arizona. So Las Vegas is a 5-hour drive. Not a problem. Surely they've got one. No. So I came home without having purchased the car. And in the end I went online, and of course they are available in the US. It's just not in where I was. I found it in Miami. 8,000 miles on the clock, 2015, and that was it. That was the love.
Talk me through the importing of the car, because that scares quite a few people, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, I did take the easy way out. To start with, because I hadn't seen the car, I hired an inspection company in the US to do the inspection for me and report back. They gave me a written report, 85 still pictures, 5 videos of everything working, and it came back as A1. So I paid the dealer the money, and I hired an outfit called Ship My Car in Milton Keynes. That company will do as much or as little as you want them to do, but being lazy, I had them do everything. So they actually went to the dealership, put the car on a trailer, trailered it to the port, did all of the export paperwork, and I only had to sign. They then loaded it one per container onto the ship. They gave me a tracking app so I could see where it was in the Atlantic.
That must have been fun.
It was. I could see it coming, and I was excited. And then it got offloaded in Southampton. They then sent me a note on the 23rd of December to say it is now been offloaded from the boat, and you will be hearing from the UK taxman. And sure enough, that same day I received an email from our favourite taxman, and it said you are due to pay 30%, that's 10% import, 20% VAT on this amount because your car is now in the UK, and it needs to be paid within 7 days or we will charge you interest. And this was on the 23rd of December. So I had 1 day basically to pay it. So I paid it, the car was released, it was taken by this company to their workshops in Milton Keynes for modifications. The car needs to have its headlights modified because they point the wrong way. It needs to have a fog light put in the back, and it needs to have side indicators installed. They did all that. They'd done the import paperwork, and they put it through the IVA test, the government legal vehicle test, and the MOT test. Although it was only 2 years old, it still needs an MOT. It passed, and they called me up and said it's ready to collect, and it was the train down to Milton Keynes.
That must have been a great moment driving it back, because you hadn't seen the car.
I hadn't seen it, no, and we got to this place, it was out in the car park, it was a beautiful sunny day, and yeah, I went up, paid the man, he gave me the keys, and it was a drive home from Milton Keynes on a lovely day. Beautiful.
How much do you get to use the car?
For me, this is a dry day car. Whenever it's dry, and we don't have lots of rain and dirt on the road, then this is the car I will be in. Even to go to get the grocery shopping, we will be in this car. For wet days, I've got a very ordinary Mazda.
And living with it, I know parts are easy to get hold of in America, and they're actually remarkably cheap for the performance of the car. What's it like as an ownership proposition?
It's great. It's very reliable. I've never had an issue with the cars I've had, the Corvettes. I had a recent issue where we were travelling down, this was probably 6 weeks ago, we were travelling down a single lane windy road, and at one point there was a huge bang on the passenger side. I looked across, and the door mirror has been slammed right up onto the passenger window by something. There is now no mirror in it, there's no actuator in it, it's just a shell. I don't know what did it. There was some slight scuffing on the shell of the mirror, which polished out with some teacup within about 5 minutes. And I just had to acquire a new actuator and mirror from the US for the price of $120, plus $80 to ship it.
To somebody who's not been in one, I mean, obviously the C7, a beautiful shape, still I think it's still a very current looking shape. I know it's been superseded by the mid-engine car.
Yes.
But as a driving experience, I know you've had C5s. Could you do a comparison between the C5 and this and give people an idea of the differences?
Yeah, this is quicker for acceleration. The ride is probably a little harder than the C5, but it handles very well. I drove one of my C5s on Alton Park track on a dry day. It had been dry for a week, and I lost it 3 times on bends, just putting my foot to the floor too early. I've never taken this on a track, and I won't, because I'd be too dangerous, and I would probably write it off. So I've done that, been there, seen it, done it, and that's where it finishes. But no, it's a good ride. You have power when you really need it, and it's just a pleasure to drive. It's full of electronics, all the bells and whistles you could wish for, a G-force meter on the dash if you want to try it out, so it's pretty good that way.
And the scary thing, how many miles to the gallon are you managing to get out of it?
Well, I don't keep track of that because I'm too old to bother really, but around 20 around town. On a long trip I filled it before I went. It was a 180 mile round trip. I filled it before I went, I filled it when I got back, and calculated 31 miles to the gallon.
That's not bad, is it?
And that's just cruising most of the way at about 75 down dual carriageways or motorways. So it's good.
Yeah, it's not bad at all.
Yeah. But if you own one of these cars, fuel is fuel, it's what it is, even with the current prices.
Yes, that's true.
One thing I should mention is that the company who made the modifications to the car did not want to spoil the side lines of the car or alter the mirrors in any way to get a side indicator. So they achieved that by installing a very small LED in the side front grille, and to pass the IVA test, I believe it has to be visible from a certain distance behind the car at an angle of 5 degrees, and it just makes it. And you will see from your photographs where this little LED is, and they've done a good job.
Do you know the spec of the car in terms of the engine size and power output that these put out?
Yes, it's got 450 horsepower. It's a 6.2 litre V8. It's an LS1 engine.
Very many thanks, sir, for letting us look at your car. It's beautiful, needless to say, and I agree. Little red Corvette is definitely, you know, it has to be.
Oh yes, yeah, it's my mistress, and it actually says so on the number plate. And mistresses need to be beautiful and expensive, and this is both. Thank you.